What's up, everyone? This is Dale from Upstate Bets and DFS. I'm here with my partner Reoz, bringing you guys this monster 13 game slate here on prizepicks. So, actually, we got two new categories here for prizepicks. We got points, rebounds, assists category. If you're into like betting over on sports books and stuff, this is kind of like a popular category. I don't know if it was due to popular demand that they added this, but I think it's definitely really cool. And then blocks and steals definitely is interesting. So far, they only got a couple players on here, but we'll definitely dive into that. So, over here on Upstate, we usually dive in category by category. We're still going to continue to do that here on this monster slate. We're just going to just run through majority of the players that we like here, just because we have so many games. But if you haven't played Prize Picks before, a very simple way to play. Like I said, they got a bunch of different categories. You can mix and match sports. You basically take the over under on different player props. So Cole Anthony's at 15.5 points. You take the over, the under on him. You can pair him up with someone in college basketball. You can do esports, PGA, soccer, tennis. I mean, they got it all realistically. It's a fun way to play. Nice change of pace from other sites like your DraftKings, your FanDuel. So, Prize Picks, we've seen a lot of success not only for us as players, but as content creators as well. So, thank you guys, everyone that's watched our videos, enjoyed our videos. We do offer a premium service over on Patreon as well. And Riaz, tell them about that.
Yeah, I mean, we do a bunch of hit rate articles. We do player props. We write up a bunch of guys that we're liking, that we're plugging in. It's just a great community. We have a really good string of games here that we just continue to keep hitting on. We've been locking in on these slates, NFL playoffs. Every single day on NBA. So it's just a great place to join. You can find it at patreon.com/upstate. And you know what? We got a Discord as well that you can join, a private Discord for the Patreon where we're interacting with you. So definitely the probably one of the best places to join if you're looking to really dive into some research. So definitely come and check it out at patreon.com/upstate.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, the private Discord is definitely awesome because you're allowed to just hop in there and just essentially just ask us anyone that we might not have covered in our articles, and anyone that's, say, someone that doesn't have an awesome hit rate, and you're really liking them tonight. It's a great place to just not only ask us but ask the other people within our Patreon community. So definitely, if you're interested in joining, go sign up for that. That'd be awesome. And then if you haven't played Prize Picks before, I forgot to mention, you can sign up using promo code Upstate. That'll give you a 100% deposit match on your first deposit up to $100. So, yeah, man. Prize Picks, they're really interactive with the community. Like I said, they added two new categories. They do the Taco Tuesdays. Who knows? We might get a discount in some of these two new categories today, just for kind of their grand opening, I guess you can say. So, yeah, man, let's dive into the slate. So at the top, we got the 76ers and the Magic. I was just drawing a blank on the names. But we have really good games here. Washington, Brooklyn. We got Boston and Charlotte, Minnesota, Atlanta, Memphis, and Milwaukee. So, dude, great games all the way down the slate. I'm really excited to dive into this one. But starting here at the top, Joel Embiid, 27.5. Hard to fade this guy, 90% in the last 10 games. Had that streak where he was just getting 31 points, 31 points, 31 points. And he was at like 29 and a half. And then he goes for 32 back to back against Washington and Miami. And then he comes down 2 points. So I think he looks really good again here at the top. Also, Tobias Harris has kind of been struggling too. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I think Embiid just looks even better than he did last week. So I wouldn't mind going to Embiid here.
Yeah, without a doubt. And then to go down even lower, Jimmy Butler at 19 and a half against this Portland game. A lot of people, a lot of key guys out here, especially for scores. They're getting Bam Adebayo back, which is really nice to see, especially in this game. But no Kyle Lowry, no Tyler Hero. So majority of the scoring here is going to rely on Jimmy Butler. And at 19 and a half, he fell half a point short against Toronto. I know I was on him when he was at 20 and a half. Started off really slow, but any given night, Jimmy Butler can go out and drop 20, 25. So at 19 and a half against Portland here, who's been really struggling, I have no problem going back to him.
Yeah, Portland, horrible defensive squad. I know they added McCollum back in the mix, but it's not really improving their defense. However, it's just making them a little bit better on offense. In this Brooklyn Washington game, I think Beal looks really good. These teams played each other once already this year. Beal shot horribly. He shot like 2 for 12 from three. Like 36% from the field. Just an awful game. I think he can really bounce back against these guys. Obviously Brooklyn's been giving up a lot of points. And a lot of bad teams have been keeping up with Brooklyn, but I mean, they got no Kevin Durant now, so every game really can be very competitive no matter who they play, in my opinion. Um, and I think Beal and Washington, they've looked really good this year. And I think he can be a nice X factor in that game.
Yeah, I mean, even to go down to this Charlotte Boston game, which is probably going to be one of the better games on this slate. Definitely a lot of guys to take a look at, especially over here on this Charlotte side. I know it was on uh, LaMelo Ball under at 17 and a half. I really don't mind taking that over. We saw the 3 point shot really falling for him against Orlando, but I'm really targeting Gordon Hayward here at 15 and a half. Been smashing over the last 3 games, 30 points against Philly. Just an incredible game, and we know the volume of shots are there. Gordon Hayward always finds a way to get a shot, and it just seems like a really good discount we're getting here at 15 and a half compared to Rozier at 18 and a half, Bridges at 19, and LaMelo Ball here at 17 and a half.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I mean, it's kind of just pick and choose who kind of pick and choose what your gut is thinking when it comes to these Charlotte guys. I mean, Bridges was the one that smashed last time. Rozier's the guy with the best hit rate as of right now. I mean, and then Hayward's been the guy that's been very consistent all season. So it's just kind of pick and choose what your gut is thinking here. I mean, you got Hayward in the revenge game narrative along with Rozier. So I mean, I don't know. I think both look good. I mean, I think definitely all four have smashed in a single game before. Don't get me wrong. So I don't mind going to Gordon Hayward there or Rozier between all four of them. And then yeah, this game against Minnesota and Atlanta looks really good. I was on Trae Young against Milwaukee. He didn't really come on until late. I was on his 3 pointers and just had an awful game, like shooting from deep. But we saw Minnesota play last night. Great game actually against the Knicks, but just kind of bad for player props. I mean, we were on Vanderbilt, who struggled. I mean, Russell assists, just early foul trouble. It was just tough to see. But regardless, I mean, in this game, the props don't really stand out to me too much. I think Hunter looks really good. He's been coming on as of late. 20 against Milwaukee, 20 against Miami. Two tough defenses. Now he's got Minnesota, which is kind of middle of the pack here. I think that Hunter can really come into his own in this offense. I think he can be a really big player for them down the stretch. So I like him here. I think he's going to be. I think his props are going to start to be rising pretty soon.
Yeah, just to jump into this Milwaukee Memphis game, Bobby Portis, he's been playing very well as of late. He's been very active, both ends of the court, but even his scoring. We could talk about that game against Golden State. Really didn't play that many minutes in that blowout, but put up 20, and it was an early 20 too. He had 17, 18 at half. It was just incredible to watch, and even Chris Middleton's been really playing really well as of late. And at 20 and a half, coming off a 34-point game uh, against Atlanta, I have no problem going back to him here tonight.
Oh yeah, I absolutely love Middleton. I love Middleton here in points and in 3 pointers. The only thing that's difficult with him in 3 pointers, he doesn't take that many of them. His go-to is kind of like that pull-up J. Really good mid-range shooter. Can hit the turnaround. I mean, really can score in a bunch of different ways. But realistically, here in points, I think is really safe. Definitely a guy that can sometimes get to the line, shoot like a really good volume of foul shots. So don't mind Middleton here. And points. I like this more than I do like his threes, but his threes do look good. So going down, Cleveland and Chicago, another really great game on this slate. Chicago's still without Zach LaVine. So, I mean, I think DeMar definitely does look good, and Vucevic, I think, even looks a little bit better. I know the matchup definitely could get tough against Jared Allen, but definitely a guy that can deal with foul trouble in Allen. So, look to Vucevic because he can definitely stretch the floor, which is definitely an upside here. And Garland, man, like I said, he had a tough stretch of games to start January. I thought the projections were going to go down a little bit, stayed the same, and he comes out against the Spurs and smashes. So I think he still looks good as well.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, even Evan Mobley looks good at 14 and a half. I know I was on Jared Allen, but this is a great matchup for him at 14 and a half. He was at 15 and a half a couple nights against Brooklyn and just fell short getting 14. So I definitely don't mind going back to him. And in this OKC San Antonio game, I think there's going to be a lot of points in this game, a lot of really underrated lines here, especially Giddy at 12 and a half. We saw that scoring output he had against Brooklyn and Washington getting almost 20 points. So at 12 and a half, his line's been kind of hovering around 13 and a half, 14. So at 12 and a half, I have no problem going right back to it here tonight.
Yeah, realistically, I agree that there's going to be a lot of points scored. I got burnt on Murray on assist the other night. Tough game against Phoenix. I thought, he already played Phoenix twice this year. I thought he was going to have a really good game. Got burned on Murray in that game, which is all right. But, and even a guy like Doug McDermott can go out there and hit a couple threes. I mean, 15 against Phoenix, like definitely a guy that can, be a sniper out there and shoot from deep. So I don't mind going to him either. Reoz, you were around Dort, who had a really good outing. So he's been pretty hot lately. So I don't mind Dort either. And going down to Toronto, Dallas, I mean, this rotation is crazy. I mean, they played 6 guys the other night. Toronto did in the rotation. I mean, this is like they're playing like it's like the playoffs right now. I mean, realistically, I mean, Siakam, Van Fleet are getting upwards of like 40 minutes a run. It's hard to like fade those lines when you know those guys are going to get so much run. Van Fleet's going to be out there for 40 minutes. Well, let's give or take 38, 40 minutes. He's going to shoot around 15, 20 shots. I mean, it's just hard to ignore that volume. So I don't mind you if you want to go to either of these Toronto guys.
Yeah, I mean, Scotty Barnes, I was on him last game where he was at 11 and a half, had 16 uh, against the Heat, who got Bam back, so the defense looks a little bit stronger. But had 11 against this uh, Dallas team. It's really hard to fade the volume that he gets. I mean, over 13 shots a game, plays upwards of 35 minutes, just has the volume, has the minutes, and at 11, we saw what he did so far in the beginning of the year. Standout rookie for sure, and at 11, it's still just a great discount.
Going lower into these like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock games, there's really not much that interests me. Nuggets are a team that I usually fade unless I'm on Jokic. And the Clippers have just been iffy. I mean, there was a streak where Marcus Morris was just absolutely smashing. And then, now his line's up. It's not a guy that I really have been going to. I mean, Gobert in a different category looks good to me. I don't know from here down if you really like anyone. I know the Lakers are lower, Pacers are lower. Who do you like here?
Yeah, I'm not really targeting anybody in these games. I mean, I was definitely wrong about Isaiah Stewart last night against Golden State, but he just started off very hot, and Trey Lyles just did not really show any effect to his minutes. So Isaiah Stewart's definitely in play with how bad this uh, the center spot is for the Kings, and then really other than that, I don't really like any of these games.
Yeah, I mean they're tough. I mean LeBron really in terms of like hit rate out of the last 10, 80%. He's out of the center spot now. He's probably going to be playing his normal position whether I don't know what normal position is for him. I mean he really can play anywhere on the floor. So I think he looks decent. Like someone like Lance Stevenson kind of just fell out of the rotation now for the Pacers, and I don't really know where to go on that team. And just watching Detroit get blown out yesterday, I can't really go back to those guys. And then the Kings, I just never take any of the Kings props for me. I just got bad luck with those guys. But going over to rebounds, man, a lot of good props here. A lot of good guys, Reoz. At the top, like I said, still got these games here at the top. Anywhere from the top down, who do you like in rebounds?
Yeah, there's definitely a bunch of guys on this slate. I don't mind going to Morant here at 5. We've seen his line kind of creep up. He's pushed on this line 3 out of the last 5, but I really like this matchup against Milwaukee. John Morant's one of those rebounding guards that really does it at a great rate, and I have no problem here with his line at 5.
Yeah, I mean Milwaukee's been pretty good as a rebounding team. I mean you got Giannis. I mean you got Bobby Portis that grabs rebounds, high energy rebounding team, but I just like John big games. Realistically, I think he can definitely get over this line tonight. We definitely saw this line early on at like 5.5 early on in the season. So 5 I think is good for him. Jared Allen is a guy too that was playing very well early on in the season. We saw the nice game against the Spurs, 16-17 against Sacramento. I don't think this is like a smash spot, but I do think he could definitely get it over here for us. And then I just want to go down to Gobert. I mean, realistically, it's hard to talk about rebounds right now without bringing him up. 5 out of the last 5, and doing it with ease. I mean, 19 against Denver, 19 against the Warriors, 17 against the Pelicans. Doing it against like elite talent too, like not doing it against just like going out there against OKC and grabbing 20 boards. Like he's doing it against some of the best in the league right now. Tough to fade him. I know he's got Christian Wood tonight. but that just really doesn't scare me. I mean, I understand the line's pretty high, but I really can't blame you going to Gobert tonight.
Yeah, this is definitely a game where you can see him get 20 and 20 here against the Rockets. They just seem to just give up a ton of points, a ton of rebounds to center and to the center spot. And Rudy Gobert has just been unbelievable, especially as of late.
Yeah, he's looked amazing. I mean, Luca and Porzingis, I think, look pretty decent here, but not a spot I'm really going to be going to. I mean, Toronto, like I said, just the minutes. Scotty Barnes is a great rebounder too. He's at 7 and 8 in the past 2 games, 9 against Utah, which was nice as well. I think he looks pretty good. And Siakam, he kind of fell off the rebounding train. He was like smashing for like he was like 8 out of the last 10 to start the year, and he's kind of slipped as of late, but still looks good. Don't get me wrong. And anyone else here you want to talk about in rebounds?
Even Karis LeVert at 4.5 against this Lakers team, I really don't mind that. We've seen some good games out of him as of late. 9 against the Clippers, 4 out of the last 5, and with it still being under 5, I mean he's definitely a guy that goes out there and gets 25 and 5 almost every given night. So Karis LeVert is definitely in play.
Oh, no doubt about that. I like Karis LeVert down there at the bottom. Over an assist too, man. We got some guys here that look pretty good. I think Lamelo Ball looks awesome here at 6.5. This is a line. I think you can kind of similar to like a Steph Curry three. I mean, not as of late, but like a line that's just kind of like 50% on the season, a little bit higher than 50%. You can just kind of go to night in, night out. And I like the matchup against Boston. Game should stay really close. A lot of points should be scored in this one. I think he looks really good, especially if we're predicting Rozier and Hayward to have nice games. That's where the ball is going to be going. Lamelo really can rack up some assists.
Yeah, and another guy that looks really good, Siakam. His line's sitting at 5. It's kind of crazy to think we're going to be taking him on assists, but back to back 10 assist games, 4 out of the last 5. Just really being the vocal point for this offense. Just really getting everyone involved, and just with all the playmakers around him, with Van Vliet, with Ananobi, with Scotty Barnes. I mean, it's just incredible to see how many assists he's racking up.
Yeah, no doubt. The back-to-back 10 assist games is crazy. Like I said, the run these guys are getting is unreal. Here at the bottom, I mean, Sabonis at 5.5. 4 of the last 5, we've seen him kind of creep up. That huge game against Boston, I mean, slipped up a little bit here against Phoenix. But, those are tough matchups. And then here against the Lakers, in terms of their front court situation, I think that he's in a really good spot. And he's got scores around him, no doubt about that. And I think Sabonis is in a really good spot to get over assists tonight. He's not one of my crazy locks, but I do think that he looks really good as well as Karis LeVert.
Yeah, without a doubt. Do you want to kick it to 3 pointers? Or do you want to go to this points, rebounds, and assists?
We'll jump to 3 pointers first, and we'll cover these new categories at the end, and as well as fantasy score. I mean, there's not much here in 3 pointers made that's like really catching my eye. I mean, I love Middleton. I already talked about him already. Monte Morris was a guy we were kind of targeting for a while, but he kind of lost his mojo there. He's only getting like one now. He's not, like I said, he's not the guy that's gonna go out there and hit like 3 or 4 of them. It's just gonna get you over. So not gonna be going there at the bottom. But that's pretty much it here. I like Middleton, and I think that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I mean Middleton's been playing really well as of late, and then you could even look at these Washington guys, Dinwiddie and Kuzma, both sitting at 1.5. We saw that hot stretch. He's kind of cooled off. Definitely a different look now that Bradley Beal is back, but these two could definitely go out and just have a great game for sure. I mean, Kyle Kuzma, that stretch, he was just scoring 25 points almost every single game, and we know Dinwiddie's been struggling, but Brooklyn gives up a bunch of threes to the guard position, so definitely Spencer Dinwiddie's a guy to look at here tonight.
Yeah, and if we get a Beal line, if the Beal line's at 2, I'm really going to like that. Like I said, he shot like 13 threes last time he went out there and played Brooklyn. I'm really going to like that line if he's at 2, to be honest. And then we'll jump over to this new category, man. Haven't had really like much of an opportunity to kind of like dive into this so far. Yeah, it makes me nervous to kind of jump on it tonight. I mean, we're covering the NBA every day. I think we have a pretty good idea of, what guys look pretty good here and what guys don't. But realistically, is there any one of these lines that just kind of catch your eye, or are you kind of just gonna let this one be for tonight?
Yeah, Robert Williams is definitely a guy I'm taking a look at here. We know he can get it done points and rebounds, getting a double double. But he's a very underrated kind of passer. I mean, he's got stretches where he gets 4 or 5 assists. We've already seen the triple double this year. So at 22 and a half, it's definitely a line to look at. He could have 13, 14 points with 10 rebounds and 4 assists, 2 assists. So definitely someone to look at.
Yeah, no, I really like that Robert Williams line. Honestly, I like Hunter too. I mean, like I said, he had that nice 20-point outing against Milwaukee. So for him to go out here and maybe just even score 20 in general and then to be at 19 and a half for points, rebounds, assists, I think he looks really good. And if you're wondering why you should go to, PRA instead of fantasy score, it's because you're going to lose points from turnovers in fantasy score, but also you will gain points for steals and blocks. So it's just kind of a different way to look at things. I do like PRA for sure. I think this is an interesting category. I'm definitely going to be looking at some of these guys as the slate goes on. But anyone else here for you, Riaz?
Not too much. I mean, definitely in this category, you want to definitely look for someone who's just gonna fill up the stat sheet. Someone who's gonna go out there and gain 15, 5 and 5. Just someone who's really consistent, just kind of doing everything. You don't want to really look for really a center unless you think he's gonna get 20 points, 15 boards. If like Bam here, he's at 28 and a half. I mean, really doesn't do much with assists. So you just got to kind of think he's going to go out there and get 20 points with 10 rebounds.
Exactly. You nailed it on the head, and especially targeting the triple double guys. Someone like LaMelo's at 30 and a half. I mean, LaMelo gets a triple double. I mean, he's most likely going to get you over this tonight because he's probably not going to score just 10 points. It'll probably be like 10, 11 points, maybe even like 15 in that area. So triple double guys, realistically, what you're looking here in PRA. Let's jump over to blocks and steals. I mean, you got a bunch of guys here. I think someone like Giannis probably looks the best. I mean, so far, like front runner for Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, blocks and steals definitely can rack those up here tonight. I mean, they play a little bit small. Memphis does. I mean, I know they got Steven Adams, but they don't play him out there a ton. I'm curious on how they're going to match up with Giannis, but I think he looks probably the best.
Yeah, I mean, he's just such a big guy. He really controls the defense very well. Gets a bunch of steals, gets a bunch of blocks, and even Jacka Portal at 2.5 is very valuable here in this category. Racks up a ton of blocks if he can just get a couple steals in this game. I mean, OKC plays very small, so you could really see him go out and get 3, 4 blocks here tonight.
Yeah, I agree. Just guys like that, centers, I think look really good in this category. Guys that can just like block shots. I mean, Onyeka Okongwu even looks pretty good as well. I mean, he's at 2.5. Definitely a guy that came out of college as a defender. It's getting some solid run here for Atlanta. It's been iffy the rotation, so I'd be wary of him first, just until we see really consistent minutes. So let's go to fantasy score, bread and butter over here. Obviously, we got the most guys here in fantasy score. Anyone that stand out to you particularly?
Yeah, I mean, Covington is definitely a guy to take a look at. 5 out of the last 5, been absolutely smashing. We know CJ McCollum coming back kind of does play a little bit of a factor in this, but this Portland team is so diminished that Robert Covington has just been playing a ton of minutes, and with his line still not changing, even though he's been having almost 40-point fantasy score games at 23, that just seems like such a great discount.
Yeah, no doubt. I think Covington looks amazing. One of the guys I'm definitely targeting here in fantasy score. With Bam back, it makes it a little bit tougher of a matchup against Miami, but I still think regardless he can get there. That line is super low. And that's pretty much it for me, man. I think, I talked about some guys that I really like in general, like I said, Middleton. So I like him in a couple different categories. So, it kind of just gravitates me to go to his fantasy score rather than just like picking apart his category. So guys like that is what I'm really looking at here. Just guys who I think are going to have a big game. But no one else for me I really want to lock in quite yet. I'm going to definitely be talking about some guys over on the Patreon page.
Yeah, without a doubt. I highly recommend getting into that. If you don't have time to kind of dive into the slate, do your research. We do all the research for you. We give you combined between me and Dell about 7, 8 players. So definitely a lot of guys you could play in 2 picks, 3 picks, 4, even 5 pick flexes. So definitely a great place to join.
Yeah, especially on a big slate like this. Definitely could be more guys, but regardless, if you don't have the time to do the research, like Reoz says, especially on a huge slate. It's definitely a good spot to get that. And like I said, with the community in the Discord too, it's actually amazing just to see other people in there. Who they're like looking at and stuff like that too. It's a really something special we're building over here. So thank you guys, everyone that's signed up so far, everyone that's subscribed to the channel. Let's like this video. Let's keep let's keep the positivity flowing here, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.